Chapter 7, aplastic anemia. And aplastic anemia is a pancytopenia of unclear etiology. Here's got a woman with fatigue. Well, I'm tired. Why am I tired? Because I'm anemic, man. Bruising because of low platelets. Multiple recent infections. I've got low white cell count. And I've got no past medical history, and I've got a normal spleen. It can't be sequestration. So the most important thing is a bone marrow. The only way you can tell ultimately that it's a production problem is a bone marrow. It's the only way you can tell is to do a bone marrow. You do a bone marrow after you're certain that it's not hepatitis B or C, or HIV, CMV, autoimmune diseases like lupus. The most sensitive test is you've got to get in there and marrow the person because you've got to see why isn't this person producing. Now, aplastic anemia basically means we have pancytopenia of unclear etiology, pancytopenia of unclear etiology, telling me that, hey, it wouldn't be exactly aplastic anemia if you said that, hey, I live inside a microwave oven, I got cooked. Oh my God, I just had chemotherapy. Oh my God, I drink a liter of Georgie vodka every day. That's not what we mean by aplastic anemia. Aplastic anemia means that your T killer cells had a psychotic break. You started to attack the rest of the marrow and rejected yourself. So the first thing, what should be, if you have a person who's got aplastic anemia, should be an allogeneic transplant. Because the first thing to do is to take those psychotic T cells and cook them, kill them off. Now the problem is you can't do autologous transplants in people with aplastic anemia because to be an autologous transplant, you've got to have some marrow. And we can't give you marrow back for yourself if you don't have any marrow. Whereas allogeneic transplant is taking another person's marrow and putting it into you. So allogeneic has to be because nothing from nothing, leave nothing. You got to have marrow if you want to be with me. There's no marrow here. What are you supposed to do? You can't masturbate with no arms, can you? So you can't take care of yourself if you got nothing in there. Allogeneic. I'm never going to be a hair donor. Now, if the person is over 50, you can't do allogeneics well above 50. Now, these are average cutoffs to give us some approximation. But in other words, they're not going to say a person is 49 on their birthday or 50, but they just ran the marathon, they're very perky. They're going to say that they're either 36 or 66. It's going to be very clear. So if you can't do an allogeneic transplant, you need to use medications to shut down those T cells. What part of the immune system controls organ rejection? The T cell. So this is a disorder where your own T cells have turned around and reject their own marrow. It's like a psychosis. It's like paranoid schizophrenia with homicidal ideation for its own marrow. Why would this happen? Because it does. Now, when this happens in the lung, we call it idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. And when it happens in the kidney, we call it nephrotic syndrome. When it happens in the muscle, we call it polymyositis dermatomyositis. Why are you rejecting yourself? When it happens in the bowels, we call it inflammatory bowel disease. The whole body is filled with various examples where our immune system starts attacking our own native organs because it's an illness. So cyclosporin stops the T cells, and anti-thymocyte globulin, anti-T cell globulin. This is what we use to prevent organ transplant rejection, and this is what we're going to do to prevent or control aplastic anemia. And believe it or not, it actually really works. It really does. You have a woman who lives with her 12-year-old son. This is the question. What can't be used in the family? In other words, which of these will spread to someone else in the family from the kid? Now, I'm not saying what you can't use in the kid, but what about the people near him? The people near him can't get oral polio because the oral polio vaccine can spread to others. Now, in the 1950s, when polio vaccine came out, we thought that was a good thing because we wanted herd immunity. But it's not a good thing if you live near someone who's got a very dangerous immunosuppressed condition. Which of the following causes pancytopenia? B12. Which of these causes pancytopenia? CBCL. Which is pancytopenia? B12. Why am I giving it to you in two different ways? Because one of the things that we want to do for you here is not just give you the main teaching point. We want to show you all different versions of how the question can be phrased. So it's not just seeing the question, but also all the different versions of the question.